This thing live tonight with Thursday night football, Raiders versus Ravens, or should we say Ravens versus Raiders. The week two matchup from last season. Of course, you guys know we started the season last year 0-2, and this was a game from the onset that the Baltimore Ravens was expected to win, but circumstances did not facilitate that. But let's start out, man, with a little bit of Ravens news. Not a whole lot to talk about on that front, and then we'll get underway. Just a heads up, I do not have my chat on, so I cannot see what you guys are saying, but I will let you know at some point throughout this stream that the chat is on. So, man, if you guys are watching it live, you're welcome. Thank you. Chop it up with one another. And then again, I will let you know when I turn my chat on so that I can hear and see what you guys are also saying. But not a lot of Ravens news, man, to talk about on today. This is the third day that the Baltimore Ravens rookies would have reported. Nothing much coming out of camp other than we did get an Emory Jones update that he is going on the NIF, some kind of list that says that he's not going to be ready to go right now. And we should have expected that when we heard about the injury in rookie mini camp or after rookie mini camp. We should have had an understanding that Emory Jones was not going to be ready to go by training camp. In fact, I think he misses the majority of training camp, if not the rest of this off season. We may not even see a Emory Jones appearance until sometime during the season, if at all, in year one. Not being a doubter of his ability, not being a doubter of his ability to heal, but when you don't get any kind of training camp, any type of physical contact as a rookie, you're not really ever really ready to start the season, especially if you're doing that late. And so I think that if he doesn't get any preseason work, I don't think we see him till later on in the season, which I think will be okay. Um, I don't think that he was going to be in big competition for the left guard starting spot. I don't believe he was. I think that is clearly Voorhees' job to lose. Maybe a Ben Cleveland competing. I think that Daniel Falele is the other starter at right guard, and I don't know who his backup is right now. But I think the Emory Jones injury does indeed open up the door for a guy like a Garrett Dellinger to kind of prove himself and make a little bit of noise during this off season and maybe secure himself an end of the roster spot. So that's one piece of news. And then the only other major news really coming out of Baltimore Ravens organization is that Mike Green still has not signed his rookie contract, but that's to be expected. Mike Green is a part of sort of a cohort where there's a collection of second round picks who are wanting guaranteed money. And I really can't blame them, man. If I go to my job and I know that at any given time you can let me go, which is the business of the NFL, then I need some security, especially if I'm getting paid to slam into people over and over and over. Yeah, I would like to get some more guaranteed money. I think something gets worked out at some point. Maybe there's a little bit of urgency as the veterans arrive next week. But I do think Mike Green, unlike an Emory Jones, is a vital addition to this team. And I think we do need to see him on the field this season. So I do believe some type of deal gets done between the Ravens and Mike Green. But that's about it, man. So do me a favor, man. If you heard this far, man, go ahead and hit the like button, man. We appreciate that. Let's go ahead and see if we can push this channel over that 1,000 subscriber mark by the beginning of the season. That's my goal. You guys know I haven't really campaigned for subscribers or even likes, but somebody wise told me, why not? Everybody else who makes content does it. They say subscribe and like, so why shouldn't I? And so do me a favor, man, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, man, and let's get the GM on over that 1,000 subscriber mark. Also, at that 1,000 subscriber mark, we will have a name change, a branding change that is already in the works. Super, super excited about that, man. And so hopefully you will be the subscriber who puts us over that mark. Appreciate you guys. So let's get this thing going. So again, Ravens versus Raiders, week 2 of 2024. Let's check it out.
First down and 10. Minshew standing in there, loses the football. The Raiders recover, but it was Odafe Owe who knocked it free. Play clock down to 2. Lamar, pressure coming. He sees it over the middle. Flowers has got it. And a first down for Baltimore. Marcus Epps on the tackle, but Zay zips for 19. Potentially getting a pressure look. Jackson Crosby's there, and that's Crosby's got him. Crosby just crashed.
So this game, man, started out hot for the edge rush position. We saw Odafe Owe, who had an amazing game in this particular game last season. And he had an amazing first half. He kind of tailed off in the second half. But we saw Odafe Owe close out that first drive by the Las Vegas Raiders with a sack, big time play. And then we see the Baltimore Ravens are moving, big catch, big play by Zay Flowers, 19 yards. And a few plays later, we see Max Crosby come in, crash the party. And what I want to do, man, with this game in particular is I want to show how, contrary to popular belief, the Ravens were never really in control of this game. We did have the lead for a good portion, but this was one of those games that the Baltimore Ravens kind of stumbled and fumbled through the first half into the third quarter and just never found their footing. And it ended up costing them. And it was plays like that from Max Crosby and the crew that would derail a promising drive early on in this game. And so as you guys see, it's still 0-0, no points on the board at this point.
Across the line of scrimmage for his second sack of the year. Be about a 56-yard field goal from here. Lamar, and that's called by Rashad Bateman. Slips one tackle, but it's Spillane. 48 yards away. Tucker's kick is good. Minshew to the air. Adams has it for a first down. Marlon Humphrey makes the tackle, but the Raiders move the chains. Minshew, pressure's coming. He is sacked. Away with his first sack of the year. Jackson looking deep for Andrews, and it's incomplete. He knows Lamar Jackson.
All right, let's pause right here. So a couple of things. This was one of those games where Justin Tucker actually hit a longer field goal, put the Baltimore Ravens up 3. And you actually see Odafe Owe get 2 sacks in this game early on. And things are going well for the defense, but for the offense, not so much. We just saw Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson, not connect on a pass downfield. But you got to also remember this was the game where Mark Andrews was still trying to recover, still trying to mend, find his footing after that wreck that he had in the offseason, which was also compromised by, some injuries from the previous season. I think he had some surgeries or something like that. I can't remember the full detail of it, but he wasn't right for this first half of the season. And that's part of the reason why you see Isaiah Likely get the run that he got early on, which is really what caused Ravens Nation to fall more in love with Isaiah Likely, his ability, his skill set, and his connection with Lamar Jackson. And if we pay attention, man, we're going to see him get cooking pretty quickly in this game. And so the Baltimore Ravens up 3. Not a whole lot of consistency when it comes to what they have going on offense. And I'll point to a few things as we continue to watch the video.
His words is the best player on the field. There's going to be moments when he goes off. They're trying to limit those. So far they have. And what a catch right there by Brock Bowers. This is an area of the field where you could take a shot on 2nd and 2. Minshew is throwing, and underneath he's got the first down. That is Michael Mayer on the catch for 11 yards. That's
get the motion to give an indication of zone or man. It looks like zone.
Abdullah is stuffed. Jones and Matabike.
So the Baltimore Ravens defense held strong, got a big stop. But what you could see on some of those plays was Vegas Raiders continue to attack the middle of the field with their tight ends. And I think that that's going to be a sensitive area for us this season. The Baltimore Ravens have had some trouble protecting the middle of the field. We understand that last season we had poor safety play. We understand that until Ardarius Washington stepped in and took over that starting role. But even before last season, we have seen that the Baltimore Ravens struggled with linebacker coverage. We've seen the Baltimore Ravens struggle to cover tight ends, especially really elite tight ends, over the course of the last 4 or 5 seasons. And if no other position has gotten exponentially better across the league with big time talent, it has been the tight end room. I mean, teams are absolutely looking for that dynamic tight end at this point in the game to kind of facilitate mixed matches during the games. And so when you look around the league, man, we see big time tight ends everywhere. That's why it's going to be important that the Baltimore Ravens get a deal done with somebody, right? With one of the 3 tight ends that we have, hopefully 2 of the tight ends that we have between Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and also Charlie Kolar. I certainly think that the candidate is Isaiah Likely, but Mark Andrews will easily find a home because, again, the tight end position is super, super important around the league. And you will see over and over that Brock Bowers and I want to say his name was Michael Myers, but I may have the first name incorrect, but they continue to attack us in that middle of the field, which is something also that we saw the Chiefs do the previous week. And so it's definitely going to be an area of concern, especially with the injuries we've had at the safety position, and then also the question mark of who's going to be the running mate for Roquan Smith. And then is Roquan going to be able to step up his pass coverage game as well? So, but that's something I'm noticing in this game, and also from the previous game from Kansas City, is that teams are attacking the Baltimore Ravens in the middle of the field. But a big time stop by the interior defensive lineman to hold the Vegas Raiders. I'm sorry. I grew up in that era where it was the Los Angeles Raiders and then it was the Oakland Raiders. But this Vegas thing, man, you don't talk about Vegas a whole lot because they haven't been that great. And so I'm still adjusting when I talk about them. So forgive me.
Carlson is good. Derrick Henry, 4 carries, -5 yards. Out of the backfield here, and Lamar connects with Flowers. That's a catch and a first down, a gain of 17. This breakup and 3 tackles for a loss, all here in the first half. Here he comes again, and Lamar to Likely. Isaiah Likely has a first down.
Likely had a whole bunch of them a week ago.
Gain of 11 for Likely on first down. Jackson to Derrick Henry. Henry slips a tackle, and he's got a first down. Divine Diablo had him, but could not get him to the ground, and it's a gain of 13. He does not have a catch yet for Baltimore. On third down, Jackson rolling right. Still going. Now throws, and incomplete. Tried to squeeze one into Flowers along the sideline. Play clock at 3. Tucker's kick is good.
All right. So with that series, you saw some really good plays, a couple of explosive plays, a screen pass to Derrick Henry that picked up good yards after breaking a tackle. You saw another 17-yarder to Zay Flowers. You saw Isaiah Likely get loose, which is a theme in this game that Isaiah Likely was handling his business. Zay Flowers was hard to stop, which really kind of speaks to, the quick chemistry he developed with Zay Flowers, and then also the chemistry he has with Isaiah Likely. And so again, there was parts of this game where it looked as if the Baltimore Ravens were going to have their way. But one thing that we can verify with what we've seen is that the Baltimore Ravens have trouble when a team has an elite level edge and a really solid interior defensive lineman. And so the Raiders, they have, of course, Max Crosby off the edge, and then you have Christian Wilkerson, newly signed last year, pressure in the middle. And so when you watch Lamar Jackson on some of those throws, he did have some initial outside pressure. The line held up well on a couple of those plays, but he's getting the ball out pretty quick. He's able to get through his reads. And so it looks like this offense could have really got cooking, but just miscues, mishaps, things of that nature kind of derailed us. And if we're honest, the defense hasn't played at this point that bad in this game because we are either in the second quarter or almost in the second quarter, and we've only yielded 3 points. So the defense wasn't the issue early on in this game. You've seen the offense kind of stall out on a couple of different drives, only yielding 6 points. So let's keep watching. Let me see.
Nate, love the reference. Miss those old CD players. 2nd and 8. Minshew, big time. And he is picked off. And now going against Roger Rosengarten.
Okay, so let me catch that right there. Big time play by Marlon. I think that might have been Marlon Humphrey. I may be incorrect, but big time play, good coverage, good read, good ball skills, and put the ball back in the offensive hands pretty quick, right? So this is one of those opportunities that we should have took to strike. But let's see how it turns out.
2nd round pick out of Washington is in at right tackle. Lamar dancing around the pocket. Crosby's there. Now Lamar wide open is Flowers. And Flowers is wrestled down by Ja'Cory Bennett. It's a 3rd down and 8 for Baltimore. 0 for their last 5 on 3rd down. Crosby's coming. Jackson taking a deep shot down the field. Aguilar down there, and what a play by Bennett. Ja'Cory Bennett got his hand in there to break it up, and it's 4th down. So now Justin Tucker from 56 yards away. He missed from 53 in week 1. He was 1 of 5 from 50 plus last year, and this one is no.
And so this right here, this kick in particular, is kind of when the wheels kind of fell off the track. This is actually when we probably started really questioning how long Justin Tucker was going to remain with the Ravens. Not that they would cut him or anything like that, but this inability to kick 50 plus field goals was something that had been kind of going on for a season and a half up until this point. Not at the volume of kicks that he missed last season, but we had seen it trending in that direction. This was an opportunity to put the Ravens up 9-3, missed the field goal. So you kind of give the Raiders a short field. But but that's what I'm saying. Whoever got that interception gave the ball back to the Ravens pretty quick. It was an opportunity to settle into our offense and kind of make something happen. And another drive that we stalled out, and then we also missed the field goal. But something that I caught from the commentator is that Derrick Henry had 4 carries and only, 4 carries, but minus 5 yards, which means the Raiders came with an intent and purpose to shut down the run and make Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense beat them through the air. And we understand that a lot of teams have tried that and have been unsuccessful, and that's with or without Derrick Henry. But I thought this was one of those games where we should have kept trying to run ball, but we kind of, when it wasn't going well, the offense was stalling out. We kind of abandoned the run and went mostly pass. Very, very similar philosophy to what happened in that Kansas City game, where we left that game with the loss, wondering why didn't we run the ball more. And it kind of gave us flashbacks from the AFC Championship game, which we were asking the same exact questions. And so, this is one of those games in the first half, the run game just never really got on track, at least early on. and so this offense was stalling out. Um, which the Raiders are playing a game where I believe many teams are going to take that approach next season with the Baltimore Ravens. I'll get deeper into that next week when I talk about how teams are going to try and play Lamar Jackson this year. But let's see what unfolds next.
Minshew under pressure and sacks. Kyle Van Noy. Carlson right down the middle. And we are tied at 6. Jackson with time. There's Andrews with his first catch. 1st and 10. Jackson over the middle, and he's got Aguilar for a first down. Aguilar to the 42-yard line. 3rd down and 2. Jackson, and that's complete to Andrews for a first down.
Now they have to go. Get up. Now he's helping Antonio Pierce focus on little things as a head coach.
Tucker 32 yards away, and it's good with 3 seconds to go.
All right, so that's the end of the first half right there, and we're up 9-6. Possibly should have been up 12-6, maybe even something like 15-6 if we had got a touchdown. And I'm really harping on stuff like that as I'm looking at looking backwards over these Thursday night football games, games that plays that cost us points, plays that cost us opportunity. This, the drive before this one, when they got the interception, was a prime opportunity to be able to go put points up, and we set up for a 56-yard field goal, which means we didn't advance past the 40-yard line, right? Well, heck, if you look at the interception, we only gained about 25 yards from point of interception to the field goal attempt. And so those are the kind of things we have to tighten up in 2025. Those are the kind of things we got to have resolved. We got to have an answer for the questions that teams present to us, right? And, it was times last season and even into the playoffs where teams presented questions that we just didn't have answers for. And it ended up costing us. So let's see what the second half on has to offer us. Of course, remember we're up 9-6. No run game for the Ravens to be found, and the Raiders have done enough to keep it close.
The first half. 2 with Justice Hill in the backfield. Hand off to Hill, up the middle, and Hill with some nice running picks up the first down and more. 2nd down and 8. Jackson over the middle. Andrews makes a great catch. Henry running left. There's some room over there for Derrick Henry. Henry with a stiff arm. Derrick Henry rumbling down the sideline.
Point blank range.
They break the huddle quickly. Jackson end zone touchdown for most of the first half.
Now, what was special about that drive? What was special about that drive was we came out and we was exact, right? We came out, ran the ball with Justice Hill, had some run plays for Derrick Henry. We was efficient and effective in the pass game, and we went right down the field and scored, which were signs of what should have been happening in the first half. There were several plays in the first half that should have said, hey, we should be able to put some points up, but we only came away with 9 points. And come out in the second half, game plan, looked like we made some adjustments, so sometimes sometimes we get upset because it looked like the Baltimore Ravens don't make adjustments. But we came out, man, and did what we needed to do, win and got points. And now we're up. And we're up by 10 points. Double-digit lead. Lamar Jackson, quarterback. Derrick Henry, running back. Lots of weapons. Let's see if we can hold it.
Minshew with time. Here's White. White gets away from Harrison, and Samir White picks up a first down. Play fake. Minshew. He's got Bowers wide open at the 40. Brock Bowers bulldozes his way to the 32 before he's knocked out by Marcus Williams. Minshew steps up, throws. He's got Myers, and he's tackled short of a first down. Minshew looking deep for Devontae Adams. It's incomplete. And throwing on first down, Jackson to Bateman. Pickup of 12, Bennett on the tackle. Jackson, and that pass is intercepted by Spillane, or are they calling him down? Yes, that's an interception.
Right. See, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff where we don't go kill folks, right? We don't go in for the kill. We catch a little momentum. And I know we had a good season last year. We had a good year the season before. But this is the kind of things that I point to when I say sometimes it's mental, but it's definitely a situation where we don't have that killer mentality sometimes. When you really think about that play in particular, right? Just a good play, good defensive play. You can't go a whole season. I don't know a quarterback who goes a whole season without an interception. But what I'm talking about is the series of events that sometimes happens to the Ravens that we don't capitalize. Follow this. We get an interception. We don't make anything happen. We miss a field goal. Now, we come out in the second half. We go straight down the field and get a touchdown, right? Now, on that drive where we went straight down the field, what did we integrate? The run game, which is something we haven't had this entire game up until that point, okay? And so we go up 10. We get a stop. It's our opportunity to go down the field and get 3, which will put us up 13, or 7, which will put us up 17. That puts a lot more pressure on a team led by Gardner Minshew. No shade at him. He's an NFL player doing his thing. He's made a career out of it where nobody expected him to make one. But he is not the caliber of guy who would have come back from a 13 or 17 point game. But case in point, we don't really close deals sometimes. And this is just an example of a miscue that gives life when we were in position to close the door on the Raiders.
Down by contact after the pick. But Robert Spillane comes up with the INT.
I know Luke Getsy is still feeling out this Raiders offense, but big opportunity you got to take advantage of.
Minshew gets rid of it and completes it for a first down. That is Jacoby Myers going for 12 yards. Minshew escapes. Now throwing deep to Bowers at the 5. And Bowers still going. Brock Bowers bulldozes his way down to the 1.
Oh, man.
What a play by Bowers and Minshew. First and goal for Las Vegas. Madison, the running back. Madison takes the handoff, pushes forward and in.
All right. Now, you see how they took the ball away from the Baltimore Ravens? They go right down the field. They don't play with us. They go right down the field, pick up a big play to Brock Bowers down the middle, and then they power it in with Madison. And what happens to the score? They close it to 3. That's what the Baltimore Ravens were supposed to do after the interception, but even furthermore, after they had found some type of rhythm in the second half, right? And so one thing I want to point out, you saw the play where Gardner Minshew went deep to Bowers down to the 5, and then he powered his way to the 1. On that play, there should have been a sack. But Gardner Minshew, who is, has some mobility, escaped a little bit and then made the play. And if anything that Mike Green could do for this team this year it's kind of closed those deals. I know Odafe Owe had a breakout season last year. I know Calvin Noy had a double-digit sack season last year, and I have an understanding that the Baltimore Ravens also led the league in sacks last year. But that was one we should have had, which would have prevented this scoring position. But again, I understand you can't stop every single play.
And a big touchdown off the Lamar Jackson INT.
Now, on that drive in particular, right? We go down, we put ourselves in position to seize control over the game once again. And the truth of the matter is, when you take into consideration what we've seen, we were never really in any type of real rhythm throughout this whole game. I understand that this was the second season only of Todd Monken's season, as OC. I understand that. I understand that this team was just newly adding Derrick Henry to the mix. I understand that. But this is a team where the core of it has been together for a number of years, and it was just like we were out of rhythm. With understanding, this was a first-year starter at right guard and a first-year starter at left guard in Voorhees, and then I think McCurry replaced him. I think this is the game that Voorhees goes down in. But nevertheless, man, this Raiders team was not equipped offensively to be dominant, but they made enough plays to handle their business. Yes, Devontae Adams was on this team. He's still a top end. He's not a top five wide receiver, but he's still a top end wide receiver who made a lot of plays in this game in particular. And then Brock Bowers may be ascending to a top three tight end in this league. And so both of those guys were doing their thing. But let's watch a little more film, and then we'll kind of close out with some commentary.
Got it down. Spillane got a hand on it. And a big play again by Robert Spillane. They get the ball back for their offense, led by Gardner Minshew. On first down, Minshew looking down the sideline deep, and Adams has it again.
Now, let me speak to something. For copyright purposes, sometimes you got to cut out a few things so that you're just not playing somebody else's whole video, and then they get mad, and then you get strikes and all this kind of stuff. I don't have time for that, right? But a few things. The truth of the matter is we didn't play well, and our inability to capitalize on the mistakes that they made absolutely left the door open, right? And we understand. We've seen that before from the Baltimore Ravens, where we don't always handle all of the business, and then we get into a situation to where we're in trouble. And this was one of those games. You could absolutely see the momentum began to shift when it came to the Ravens. You could absolutely see that the Raiders had gained confidence. Hold on, I lost my screen. I know I didn't close my stream. Hold on, guys. All right, here we go. And so you could absolutely see the momentum shift. And it's kind of like a seesaw. We're on one end, they're on the other, and you could see us going down and you could see them going up. And we had an opportunity to get back on track right there on that last drive. We did not. Spillane makes a good play. He made plays this whole game. He is actually the one who had the interception. And I tell you something that I've noticed too, right? The Baltimore Ravens offensively struggle against elite linebacking, right? And I'm not saying Spillane, however you want to pronounce it, is an elite linebacker. But what I am saying is I've seen us struggle with good linebacking play. And I'm not sure what causes that. I mean, it could just be elite on elite. But nevertheless, man, definitely have been seeing that as a trend. Nevertheless, their defense gets the ball back to their offense, and now it's money time. Let's see how they handle their business.
Davante Adams makes the play.
That is number 17 going across the formation and settling in the slot, Davante Adams.
Minshew, Bowers is wide open. Another Las Vegas first down for Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, that's his 7th reception on the day. Bowers in the slot.
Minshew looking for Bowers, and he's got it again! First down, Las Vegas.
Probably because of the fighting and going back and forth between the two.
White, no, it's Minshew, touchdown! Davante Adams!
Now, before we watch this last series, you see how they got the ball back and they went and handled their business. Their big playmakers made what? Big plays. Davante Adams and Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers dominated the entire game, and then Davante Adams basically dominated the second half. And that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to have reliable offensive weapons that when you need a play, they can make the play. Am I indicating that the Ravens don't have that? No, I am not. But what I'm saying is in this game in particular, we were not ready to play. In fact, you could say that the Ravens walked into this game overconfident. And because of that overconfidence, it ended up costing us. But let's see how this game ends up.
Jackson, here comes the pressure, and guess who? Max Crosby!
Gotten a lot more exciting. The Ravens got some early points. Now the Raiders are being stringent and coming back.
3rd and 19, shut down to Justice Hill. Stopped well short of a first down. Some frustration from the home fans here in Baltimore.
So this is all on the Ravens defense right now.
2nd and 1, Minshew over the middle, and that is caught. Jacoby Myers reels it in. First down for Las Vegas.
Same play.
Here's White. Does not get the first. 2-yard shy, so Las Vegas can take their time. Carlson kick on the way, and it is.
And that's the ball game. That's the ball game. They made plays, and we didn't. And whether it was early on the interception, whether it was early on not getting the run game going, whether it was early on in the game, allowing their defensive line to push us around to hold Derrick Henry to -5 yards early on in this game. Whatever it was, it worked for them, right? And again, at this time, we didn't know our secondary was that bad or that our safeties were that bad, however you want to say it. But this was a game that we had opportunity to capitalize on some of their mistakes. The defensive front didn't play bad at all. In fact, the secondary didn't play bad as much as we would like to think, because I believe that if the offense had capitalized on opportunities that they had given to them by our defense, we would have walked away with this game, which may have changed how that season ended. I think it would have put us in the 2nd spot, Buffalo in the 3rd spot, and maybe that the AFC divisional round looked different, right? But nevertheless, man, this is the type of things we saw in this game where you have an elite level pass rusher who does what? He go and be elite. That's what I've been harping on for the last couple of seasons. People keep telling me about Odafe and Kyle, and I know those guys can ball. I'm not discrediting anything, but there is a different level to elite and just a good pass rusher. And sometimes you need elite players to do elite things. And it was Max Crosby who got the sack, changed the course of that drive, ended up with that 3rd and 19. That pass play came up short and we lost. So, man, let me know what you guys want me to know about this game. What plays did you guys see that could have made a difference, and what opportunities did we leave on the field that we didn't take advantage of, man? So this is Thursday Night Football, man. We will definitely be back again next Thursday with another game. I don't know where we're going to go next week. We may go with one of the Bengals games since it is a division rival, since there was some shootout uh, activity going on. So we'll see. But you guys let me know what game you guys want to talk about next week, and we'll put it on. We'll put it on before we get done with these Thursday night episodes, man. I appreciate you guys. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.